All right, so Edgework, real world application.
Yeah. So when we talk about Edgework, we're talking about the outside inch or two around all the big panels of a car. So all around here, that is what we mean by Edgework. We also mean this contour here, so that's considered Edgework. And then of course all this stuff, headlight, all this knick-knack areas around here, all of that is what we mean by Edgework. And we could hand rub those areas. We could take a full-size tool, full-size pad, and try and stuff it in those areas, which some people do. But the more efficient, more professional, more effective way is to really downsize to smaller tools, smaller pads. Mini, which is a 12mm orbit. And let's just take this pad for now to show. Do your same for pea-size dots. So you want to prime this pad. And by the way, on this tool, Matt, the speed control dial is on the back of the tool.
Why do they put it underneath the power cord on this? Is there a reason behind that, or that's just?
It's a design feature because you're trying to get a lot compacted into a small space. And if the speed dial was up here, this area would have to be much larger. So that's why it's back there.
Oh yeah, I noticed that when I was building my LHR-15 that the electronics, that board is a certain size. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot actually underneath and in this area. The gear set's up here. There's a lot of electronics in here. So that's why it's back there. So this area right here is actually perfect for this size pad. And one of the many benefits of downsizing to a small diameter, small tool is that you can be flat pad all the time. You know, trying to do this area with a full-size pad, full-size tool, it's impossible really to be flat pad.
Now how do you get this part? You know, the extreme edges.
We would, in this case, I would pop the hood up to the secondary latch, which would give you about an inch height right here.
Right.
And then same thing with this hard part of the backing plate. I would just extend it down that far.
Does it matter what angle you approach it? You know, I've learned many different schools where you come at it this with the back side of the pad, or you come at it with the front side. Does it really matter? I mean,
not with this style movement, because remember this is dual action random orbital. So whether you come in this way, whether you come in that way, the movement is random. So the pattern on the paint is going to be very irregular. So it does not matter that way. The main thing is if you want, see, look at this footprint of the compound.
Yep.
That is where all the work is being done.
Right. In the inside.
So you want to make sure that if you want defects out on this edge and that edge, that you're actually taking this over the backing plate. So that's the electric version. Now you can do the same thing with the pneumatic version. More powerful. So the main thing you want to learn with this tool is faster arm speed. And that's because this is a much more powerful tool. So you don't want to linger in one place too long. I'm going to take a compound with a cutting pad, really prime it good, which is what microfiber needs. all kinds of pad rotations. So you can do headlights. You can see these scratches in the headlights here. I don't know if the camera will pick that up.
So as long as you manage the pad, the edge of the pad up to the edge, do you need to rotate, turn it on axis to sort of scrub the edge or anything like that?
Not with this type movement. Now, if we were talking a different movement, like a gear-driven or a rotary, then yeah, you would have to play with your angles a bit. But with the random orbital, flat pad is always the best answer. If you can get it flat pad, that's the best place. But in here, it'd be difficult, and that's where the Nano comes in. So with the Nano, with foam pad or fiber pads, I can get down to that diameter, and I can actually get into some very, very tight areas that normally other tools wouldn't be able to do, you know, or wouldn't effectively be able to do. So this is the Nano long neck with the rotary adapter in there. As you can see, there's no offset. It's a straight on rotary. And
What speeds are you usually using on this thing?
well, again, there's different approaches to speed. Some people like a specific recommendation on the speed dial, like tell me what speed to put, and that's what I'll use, which I personally am not a fan of that. It's pad dependent and compound dependent, but what I like to teach is the speed that I can maintain, the lowest speed on the dial that I can maintain rotation. So in this case, it's a rotary setting, so it's always going to maintain its rotation, but you don't want to sling product, you don't want to throw product everywhere. You want to have that feeling of control. Let's try it. So that's setting 1 on this tool. There's 5 other speeds I can go, but this is setting 1. And I've got all kinds of control, and I'm doing very, very good defect removal here. I have lots of control. I'm not being thrown around by this tool. I can get right up to the edge.
And you're moving really quickly because of the rotary?
Yeah. Because it's rotary, I don't want to leave it in one place too long. But remember, because of its diameter, we are being a lot less aggressive with this 1-inch pad diameter. Even though it's rotary, it's a lot less aggressive. And this is just a wonderful way to do edge work. I'm using a polish with a polishing pad, so these deep scratches here, does the camera pick that up?
Right, no, not from this distance.
So very easily, very comfortably, with a lot of control, I'm doing this whole contour in a way that you wouldn't even think of doing this with a full-size pad or a full-size tool. You know, this area,
Yeah.
any of this edge work.
So just like painting, you'd come around one panel at a time to keep things organized, right?
Yeah.
But one panel at a time. So let's say you tackle the hood. So I'm going to edge the entire hood.
I'm going to do all this edge work.
It also keeps it maybe from getting stale, right? You're switching tools. You're not just sitting there grinding away doing the exact same thing.
It's more enjoyable, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
It's more enjoyable. So I would do a test spot like I would normally do for any polishing process. So with this tool, I would find the good combination of pad and compound, whatever is doing what I want it to do. And then once I do my test spot, I'll do all the edge work and then come back with the full-size tool and do the midsection. Now I do, in addition to that rotary setting, I've got another diameter. This is a 2-inch diameter. Mm-hmm. But there's also, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but there's a red colored attachment and a blue colored attachment.
Yep.
So this red one is a large orbit dual action polishing. So it's actually a good setup with the 2-inch pad, and it has a large orbit to it. So this sort of thing would be good for headlights and bigger areas like that.
Right.
And then there's a blue colored attachment, which is good for 1-inch diameter, but this is good for micro sanding. Like if you had to sand headlights, you can actually take this attachment, spin it on the Nano, do your sanding, and come back with this and do the buff out.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, why would we need a 3mm orbit? Sanding.
Sanding, micro sanding,
yeah.
Does great. You can also polish with it, but what we found is that the Rotary does a much faster job of that kind of polishing on edge work. Oh, by the way, the sandpaper.
Yeah, it comes get it in a kit, right? And then
you take this blue attachment.
What grits does it come in?
2000 and 3000.
Okay, but no interface. So what would we do with interfacing on that?
The interface is actually built into the sanding pad. So there's a hard plate, and then on top of it is a foam rubber cushion. This isn't it. But there's another backing plate that comes in the kit, and there's a foam rubber that's built into the backing plate, and that is your foam interface for this.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's in the kit. Also in the kit are these brushes that twist on the Nano.
For interior carpets.
Yeah, this is a horsehair brush for doing the perforated edges and leather seats. It's fabulous for that, actually. And then this white nylon is good for lug nut housings on wheels and tight areas like that for cleaning. Mm-hmm. Both of these are great for cleaning. And that's in the kit as well. You also get liquids with it. So there's a whole assortment of pad sizes, and I mean, this doesn't come in the kit, but what's available to people is every diameter that Rupes has in the tool assortment, all of those diameters we have the pads available in microfiber and foam and wool.
Well, microfiber is the one thing we don't have in 1 and 2, right?
Right, because it's actually not as good performance as the wool. That's why we do have it in 1 and 2.
Ah, okay.
So the wool in that diameter tends to work a lot better. The microfiber grabs and holds too fast, and it loads up really fast in the small diameter. So that's what we have for edge work. I won't do the whole car, but I've showed you parts.
I'm expecting you to have this whole car. I want to drive it clean all the way back to the rental place.
Sure.
All right, awesome. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor,